Look at you, filthy, homeless garbage, thinking you belong among decent people. The two cops sneer as they close in on Cal Monroe, a weary black man standing beside his battered cart. To them, he's nothing but clutter, unwashed, unwanted, and unworthy of breath. One shoves him while the other locks the cuffs, their laughter echoing like victory. The crowd averts its eyes, pretending not to see. A few yards away, a man in a tailored suit watches silently. A wealthy black CEO, calm but furious inside. The cuffs tighten, the mockery spreads, and by tomorrow, those same cops will be ruined. Before we go any further, comment where in the world you are watching from and make sure to subscribe because tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss. The autumn breeze carried fallen leaves across Piedmont Park as the afternoon sun painted Atlanta's skyline in warm amber hues. Cal Monroe's weathered hands gripped the rusty handle of his shopping cart, its wheels squeaking a familiar rhythm as he moved along the park's winding path. His deep voice, softened by age and hardship, hummed Amazing Grace, the same hymn his mama used to sing on Sunday mornings. Lord knows I've seen better days, Cal muttered to himself, easing his tired body onto a park bench. From his pocket, he pulled out a half-eaten sandwich, breaking off small pieces for the gathering pigeons. Their gentle cooing reminded him of peaceful moments from his past, before life had turned so harsh. The crunch of heavy boots on gravel made Cal's shoulders tense. He didn't need to look up to know what was coming. He'd learned to sense trouble long ago. Two Atlanta PD officers approached, their shadows stretching across the ground like dark omens. Well, what do we have here? Officer Dalton Briggs's voice dripped with mock sweetness. His partner, Mark Denham, hung back, shifting uncomfortably from foot to foot. Looks like we got ourselves a vagrant disturbing the peace. Cal kept his eyes down, speaking softly. Just resting my legs, officer. Been walking all day. His fingers trembled slightly as he continued feeding the birds, trying to maintain some dignity. Resting? This ain't a homeless shelter. Briggs circled the shopping cart like a predator. This here's a public park for decent folks. His boot connected to the cart's wheel, sending it crashing onto its side. Cal's few possessions scattered across the ground. Some clothes, a worn Bible, a plastic water bottle, and an old photo in a cracked frame. Please, Cal said, his voice steady, despite his racing heart. Those are all I got. He slowly stood, hands visible, movements careful. A few park visitors slowed their pace, watching from a safe distance. Some pulled out phones, but none stepped forward to help. As Cal bent to retrieve his Bible, Briggs's hand clamped down on his arm. Oh, no, you don't. That looks like resisting to me. His fingers dug into Cal's flesh. Wouldn't want you reaching for a weapon. Please, officer, I ain't done nothing. Cal's voice cracked, decades of dignity crumbling under cruel hands. Just let me get my things. Briggs moved with practiced violence, sweeping Cal's legs while pushing forward. Cal hit the ground hard, concrete scraping his hands. Denham hesitated for a moment before moving to assist his partner, holding Cal's legs while Briggs pressed his knee into the older man's back. The rough surface bit into Cal's cheek as Briggs ground his face against the sidewalk. Blood began to seep from the abraded skin, trickling down to stain his collar. The cold metal of handcuffs bit into his wrists, ratcheting too tight. Should have stayed invisible, boy, Briggs whispered, his breath hot against Cal's ear. The slur that followed was quiet enough that only Cal could hear it, but its poison burned deep. The officer's knee pressed harder, making Cal gasp for air. Through pain-blurred vision, Cal noticed expensive leather shoes stepping into view. His eyes traveled up pressed suit pants to the figure of a well-dressed black man standing perfectly still about 20 yards away. Even through his distress, he couldn't help but notice how the man's presence seemed to command attention. His stance straight-backed and powerful, his arms folded across his chest. The man's face remained carefully neutral, a mask of professional detachment. But his eyes told a different story. They burned with an intensity that seemed to take in every detail of the scene. The scattered belongings, the blood on the concrete, the growing crowd of uncomfortable onlookers, the smirk on Briggs's face. The stranger's fingers tightened slightly on his crossed arms, the only visible sign of his internal reaction. His expensive watch caught the sunlight as he stood motionless, watching Cal's humiliation with those fierce, calculating eyes. Cal felt himself being roughly pulled to his feet, Briggs's hands unnecessarily rough. The movement sent waves of pain through his shoulders, but he bit back any sound of distress. His mama had always told him to hold on to his dignity, no matter what. "Let's go, old-timer," Briggs sneered, shoving Cal toward the waiting patrol car. "Maybe a night in lockup will teach you about proper park behavior." As they marched him away, Cal caught one last glimpse of his fallen Bible, its pages fluttering in the breeze. The well-dressed stranger hadn't moved, his presence like a statue of judgment overlooking the sea. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the park, turning the scattered remains of Cal's life into dark silhouettes on the ground. The patrol car's door slammed shut with a finality that echoed across the park. Through the window, Cal watched his shopping cart lying on its side, the wheels still spinning slowly in the autumn air. The pigeons had returned to pecking at the forgotten breadcrumbs, indifferent to the human drama that had just unfolded. The patrol car's back door stood open like a hungry mouth as the officers dragged Cal toward it. His feet scraped against the pavement, leaving dark marks from his worn shoes. Blood from his scraped face dripped onto his collar, spreading slowly through the thin fabric of his shirt. "Watch your head," Briggs sneered, making no effort to prevent Cal from bumping it against the car frame. The cruel irony of the standard police warning twisted into another form of mockery. A commanding voice cut through the tension. "Officers, what's the charge?" Darius Langston stepped forward, his movement smooth and deliberate. His tailored suit and straight-backed posture contrasted sharply with the chaos of the scene. His face remained carefully controlled, but authority rang in every word. Briggs's head snapped around, his expression darkening at the interruption. "Back off, sir. This isn't your business." His hand tightened on Cal's arm, making the older man wince. "Everything that happens in this city is my business," Darius replied, his voice level but carrying an unmistakable weight. He stood perfectly still, hands clasped behind his back, radiating the quiet confidence of someone used to being heard. A few feet away, Myra Jenkins held her phone steady, recording every moment. Her silver-streaked hair pulled back in a neat bun, her teacher's instinct for documenting wrongdoing evident in her unwavering grip. "Oh, this is going viral," she muttered just loud enough to be heard. Her fingers swiped across her screen, making sure to capture Briggs's badge number, 6847. Darius's eyes flickered to Denham, noting his badge as well, 4218. The younger officer shifted uncomfortably under that penetrating eye and swallowed hard as his Adam's apple bobbed. For a moment, their eyes met, and Denham looked away first, guilt written clearly across his features. "I said back off," Briggs barked, but a note of uncertainty had crept into his voice. Something about the well-dressed stranger's demeanor suggested power, the kind that couldn't be countered with a badge and handcuffs. Cal sat hunched in the back seat now, his dignity intact despite his circumstances. His eyes met Darius's through the window, and something passed between them. A moment of recognition, perhaps, or a shared understanding of injustice. The crowd that had gathered began to disperse, their momentary outrage fading as quickly as it had flared. They drifted away like leaves in the autumn wind, returning to their comfortable lives, leaving behind the scene of casual cruelty. The patrol car's engine rumbled into life. Briggs slammed his door with unnecessary force, a final act of defiance against the watching stranger. The vehicle pulled away from the curb, carrying Cal into the gathering dusk. Darius waited until the police car disappeared around the corner before approaching Myra. She was still trembling slightly, her phone clutched tight in her hand. Up close, her eyes showed a mixture of anger and determination. "Ma'am," he said softly, "that was brave of you to record." His voice carried genuine respect. "Would you be willing to share that footage with me?" Myra nodded, her teacher's instinct for recognizing allies kicking in. They shouldn't be allowed